03:15, September 10, 2025. Novorossiysk Bay lies under black sky so thick it swallows sound. Lights from the port scatter across glassy water. Silhouettes of steel and masts stand like monuments to a confidence that hasn't been tested in months. Inside that false calm, men move through routines, tea poured, logbooks checked, radios humming, convinced that the nearest danger is years away. But war is patient. It waits until habit hardens into predictability. It hunts the comfortable. The Spasatel Ilyin, white against night, cuts a measured line through the bay. On paper she is impressive, a floating node of sensors, listening and mapping, the kind of platform commanders use to translate silence into certainty. Her captain moves through the hours with the quiet ease of someone who believes the perimeter is impenetrable. He is not cruel or cowardly, he is just human, and humans are fond of patterns. Hundreds of miles away, in a dim room lit by monitor glow, a handful of operators watch those patterns like surgeons study a heartbeat. They are not theatrical patriots shouting in heroics. They are technicians, planners, people who have traded normal lives for late-night vigilance. A grainy thermal feed scrolls across their screen, white, black, movement, pause. To those eyes, the Ilyin is not only a ship, it is a threat vector, a blueprint for something darker. Left unmolested, her mission could clear a path for deadly operations. The order is clinical: neutralize the node before the blueprint becomes reality. This is not a mission of thunder and titans. It is a study in economy, misdirection, timing, precision. It is about turning the assumptions of overwhelming force against itself. 03:45. Far out at sea, skimming waves beneath the radar horizon, a vessel moves like a phantom. It carries nothing ostentatious, but inside its belly is theater, decoys designed to look like a storm of metal, and a far quieter payload meant for the ship's nervous system. It approaches not as an invader, but as a mundane object, a piece of maritime clutter the watchful eye will dismiss. The art of deception begins with making the extraordinary appear ordinary. Inside the Ilyin, lamps glow over navigation charts. The crew jokes about the monotony. On the bridge, the captain glances at the bay, then at the sky, then back to his cup. He is both a professional and a man in love with routine. He does not anticipate that a novel kind of threat is about to rewrite the rules of his night. 04:15, calm cracks. 1,000 tiny lights bloom on displays across the fleet. A swarm, sirens wail. The crew moves instantly from idle to urgent, boots hitting steel decks, voices crisp with command. The fleet scrambles to face an oncoming horde that, to their senses, appears overwhelming. But the swarm is a mirage, carefully composed signatures and false heat echoes that draw attention like moths to a lantern. While most of the defenders pivot toward the obvious danger, two small, silent craft slip beneath the horizon where human eyes and confidence do not look. They move with a predator's patience, carrying not the force of a battleship, but the precision of a scalpel. The sea conspires too. A gust lifts a crest into the path of one attacker, feed stutters. For a breathless second, the line between success and failure narrows to the thickness of a single decision. But calculation and contingency carry the day. Correction streams in, small micro-adjustments that steady the approach. It is the quiet work of many minds anticipating the possible. A distant watch operator notices a faint anomaly, a flicker that the main picture doesn't explain. Orders ripple. A reconnaissance craft turns toward the stranger. For a moment it seems the plan will fail, the hunter has become the hunted. But that was part of the design. The illusion to the north is bait. The reaction it pulls is the tool the attackers need. As forces peel away to chase the glare, the real instruments of damage find a seam. Approach becomes confrontation. The target is not the cold metal of the hull, it is the ship's mind, the bridge, the sensor arrays, the panels and consoles that turn noise into actionable truth. The strike is designed to deny, to blind, to turn a sophisticated asset into a noisy carcass that cannot perform the job it was built for. A concussion, glass and sparks. Somewhere aboard, a sailor who had thought the night would continue its gentle orbit now cries out. The bridge becomes a storm of motion and smoke. The captain, once confident, becomes a portrait of immediate consequence, shouting commands, nursing wounds, trying to stitch order back onto chaos. In the control room hundreds of miles away, a A hush falls before a small, controlled cheer. On a monitor, the bloom of heat confirms what they had planned for. The node is severed. The attackers do not gloat. They recognize the human cost, even as they mark the cold ledger of results. Their victory is tactical, surgical, and it carries a heavy shadow. Dawn arrives in reluctant streaks. Social feeds light up. Kiev's intelligence releases a short clip. The impact, the bloom, the aftermath. Reactions ripple across the world. Analysts measure cost-effectiveness. Commentators weigh strategic implications. The offended press in the targeted capital issues terse statements about debris and accidents. In quieter channels, a different narrative spreads. A capable ship is down, a calendar of planned operations is interrupted, and a comfortable assumption of sanctuary has been shattered. The immediate damage is mechanical and human. The Ilyin is not merely scarred, its listening ears are damaged, its mapping capacities degraded. Ships are recyclable, electronics are bespoke and costly to replace. Months of procurement, testing, and installation stand between the fleet and regaining what was lost. More than that, the confidence that came with static safety is gone. Psychology is battlefield terrain. Sailors who once felt secure now sleep with one eye open. Commanders recheck assumptions. Diplomatic backchannels buzz with questions. Planners in many capitals begin to redraw timelines and consider contingencies they had not before needed to consider. And yet, for every action the attack invites, it also provokes response. New counters will be sought, doctrine will adapt, systems will be hardened, war is iterative. Each innovation invites a counter-innovation. The moral and strategic contest now stretches beyond a single night. Later that day, a round table of analysts debates the meaning of what happened. Was it an act of bravado or a calculated move in a long strategic chess game? Was it a signal, most of all, to other ships, to allies, to the international marketplace, that no asset is unassailable? Some call it the triumph of creativity over cost. Others warn that such attacks accelerate escalation and demand new rules for maritime security. Back in the small control room, the operators resume their watches. There is paperwork, medical calls, and grim moments of reflection. The celebrations, if they come at all, are private and brief. They know the fragile truth of asymmetry. Turning a weak point into leverage does not end a war, it changes its shape. The Black Sea, once predictable, now feels different underfoot. Harbors are re-evaluated as potential traps. Charts are read anew with suspicion. The Ilyin's silence on the water is a lesson written in smoke and twisted metal. When advantage grows too confident, ingenuity will find the seam. What happens next is neither obvious nor inevitable. Do defenders double down on detection and fortification? Do attackers refine misdirection into new art forms? Or does a new equilibrium emerge, one in which small, clever strikes become a permanent feature of maritime conflict? The night has spoken. The conversation now moves to strategy rooms, to diplomacy, to budgets, and to grief. And for those who watched live on a grainy clip, for those who replayed the impact in the light of morning coffee, the image lingers. A white ship in black water, a sudden bloom of heat, and the sense that the rules had changed that night, quietly, irreversibly, and with consequences that will be felt for months to come.